What is advertising? Advertising is the process of making your offer known to strangers. It's extremely critical that you understand this because it's how a business makes money. There's four ways to advertise. You could talk to people you know, talk to strangers, post content, or do paid ads. For paid uh for paid ads and content, you need a creative. So a creative is basically what you consume. Like if this was an ad, it would be this TikTok video. It's like a video. It could be a billboard. What's on the billboard? It's it's the ad. It's what you're seeing. That's what a creative is. All right. So now, how to make a good creative? Basically, how to make a good ad. You need a hook. This is the most important part of a creative. With 80% of your energy should go into the hook. It's the most important part. I can't stress this enough. All right, after that, after a hook, you need to provide value. You need to either entertain or educate your viewers. And then at the end of the video, you can offer what you're selling and then give them a CTA. A CTA is how they buy it. So if you're selling a product, then you would tell them, go to my website and you can buy it. That's a CTA. You just tell them what to do to buy. The reason ads get people to buy is because they communicate that what you're selling is worth more than it costs to buy. Okay? And also, a good ad will cost less than what it takes them to consume, which is their time and their attention. How to advertise, part one. I'm going to do two parts, and I also got a video talking about what advertising is. So pay attention because these three videos are going to be more valuable than any other video about advertising on the internet. Look, to advertise, you need to find your target customer, show them they have a problem, offer your solution, and give them a way to buy. That's pretty much the core of it. All right, I'm going to give you 5 critical tips that you need to know, and then in the next part, I'll give you 5 more. So 10 tips total. Tip number 1 is the hook. The hook is the most important part of advertising. Look, you need to focus 90% of your energy on the hook. And then, as the video goes on, less and less of your priority. So the first minute is more important than the second minute. And this might sound obvious, but not a lot of people realize this. All the value you're providing, education or entertainment, should be in the beginning, all of it, and then less and less of your value as you get closer to the end of the video. Tip number 2. All right, look, this is the most important metric of advertising and probably maybe of a business. Look, LTV and CAC. So LTV means how much a customer is worth, and CAC is how much a customer costs. So if you spend $100 to get 10,000 views, 10,000 impressions, right? And only one sale happens, right? So of the 10,000 leads, you only got one sale. That means your CAC, your customer acquisition cost, is $100 because you spent $100 on the ad, you only got one sale. But that sale, they spent LTV $500. That means that customer is worth $500. So this is the metric. It's LTV to CAC, which in this case is $500 to $100 because it costs $100, you get $500. That means your LTV to CAC is 5 to 1. You need at least a 3 to 1 to have a healthy business. Starbucks has an LTV of $14,000. That means they can spend literally $10,000 to get someone to come be a customer, and they'll still make all their money back plus more. That's insane. All right, tip number 3. This one's super important. You can't sell to the entire world, so don't try and advertise to the entire world. You see this big circle on the screen? All around the screen? Yeah, so that's the entire world. This smaller circle somewhere on the screen is who will buy. This is only your customers. Everything outside the circle is other people who won't ever buy no matter what you do, right? So if you sell feminine products, trying to sell to the whole world just won't work, right? Because a man isn't going to buy makeup. A man isn't going to buy pads. A man isn't going to buy feminine products, right? So you don't want to waste your advertising energy and money trying to sell to men. So you need to make sure that you're trying to sell to your smaller circle only, right? There's a girl who made $1 million in profit after paying expenses, okay? $1 million. But the only way she advertised was her Instagram with 4,000 followers. Her best videos would get 10 comments, 30 likes. Basically, they wouldn't get many views, right? But that doesn't matter because you can't eat views, but you can eat sales. Okay? She was getting millions of dollars in sales from just her Instagram. That's the only way she advertised, was this Instagram. She was making millions of dollars because everyone who was watching her content was her little circle. It was her customers. She's not trying to go viral. Tip number 4, you need to do way more, okay? So if you're doing one video a day, that's not nearly enough. You need 5 to 10 to 20 videos a day. You need to do 100x what you're doing right now, 10x what you're doing right now. You need to do way more. 33% of a business is marketing. Now that you're posting way more content, you'll start to notice that some content performs better than others. Let's say your average view count is 10,000 views and one of your videos gets 1,000,000 views. This video will likely do good as a paid ad. So you can take it over, start spending money to advertise it, and it will likely make you more money. Alright? Same goes with paid ads. For paid ads, you don't want to just put a bunch of money into an ad. You want to do a whole lot, maybe hundreds, maybe just a couple dozen ads, but with a low budget. You don't want to spend the whole bank here, right? Because most of these ads are going to lose money. But one of them, if it performs well, will make money. So this one's going to pay for all the losers. And then what you're going to do is you're going to put all the money, you're going to put all your advertising budget into this winning ad. So let's say you spent $5 on this ad and it performed well. You made $15 off of it from sales. So what you're going to do now is put your whole budget, let's say you put $1,000. Now it's going to do well and make you $3,000. And when these ads perform well, you want to keep them because these are assets. You can look back at them and find out why they performed well, and then you can take what good characteristics they had and put them into your new ads. So never lose them. You also want to milk them completely, like new subtitles, new editing, different editing, reenact the ad. Do it slightly differently. Just completely milk the ad until you've got everything that it's worth and it's not making any more money. Tip number 5. This one's super duper important and no one talks about it. Alright? It's why do they buy? You need to figure out why your customer's buying. In my last video, I tried to sell a pen. And I told you, they're not just buying a pen. They're buying what they get out of it. Right? So I did an example about a girl who wants to become a famous writer. So if all of my customers are buying my pen because they want to become famous writers, then I can advertise that. If I sell guns and everyone who buys my gun, I find out that the reason most of my customers are buying is because they want to feel safe, then I can advertise that. In my next ad, I can say, buy this gun to protect yourself, right? Or something along those lines, because the reason they're buying the gun is to feel safe. So I want my ad to correlate with that, right? So if you don't know why your customers are buying, you don't know how to advertise to them. You need to know why your customers are buying. It's super important. I never hear anyone talking about this. Alright, how to advertise part 2. I'm going to give 5 critical tips that people would pay money just to learn. Tip number 1 is make yourself easy to buy, right? Make yourself easy to find. Make yourself easy to buy. So think about it like this. If you sell something, let's say you sell pens, and someone wants to buy a pen. Maybe they want to buy your pen or maybe they just want pens. Where are they going to go to buy it? Where are they going to search? Are they going to go on TikTok and search for pins? Are they going to Google pins? Where are your customers looking for your product or your solution? And then you need to put yourself in that place. So if I find out that my customers are using TikTok to look for me, then I need to make sure that I'm there. I need to make sure that I'm easy to find. All right, tip number 2, this one's super important. You need to understand your customer and product obsessively. And I mean obsessively. Look, if you own a restaurant and you're obsessed with your customers, you're paying attention, you understand your customers, you would probably see, like, say you own a fancy restaurant and you have women coming in often, and you notice that all the women come in there, every time they come there, they take a photo and post it on Instagram, right? If you aren't obsessed with your customers, you're never going to know this. But if you did find this out, then you would be able to make that, you would be able to use that knowledge to your advantage. So now that I've learned that women are coming to my restaurant just for the Instagram photo, I can use that knowledge to my advantage. Like, I can make my food more visually appealing. That way they'll do more Instagram photos, right? They'll be more incentivized to come to my restaurant for that photo. And then when other women see that girl's Instagram photo, she's gonna be jealous. She's gonna want to come to my restaurant, which will attract more customers and etc. So that's why it's important to understand your customer and product, because when you can see through the eyes of your customer and think like them, then it gives you amazing benefits. You can give them what they want and many other things. Oh, and also you need to know what platforms your customers are on. So if I own a fancy restaurant, my customers, the female customers, were on Instagram in that scenario that I created. So I need to be on Instagram posting because I want their attention. I need to advertise on that platform. And whatever platform that, so if my customers were more older, then I would probably post on Facebook, right? So you need to understand your customers deeply so that you can know where to advertise at. All right, tip number 3, study the funnels in your niche. So a funnel is the process of having someone who doesn't know who you are to a sale. So through that process, they're going to find out who you are, find out what you're selling, go to your website, maybe go to your TikTok, do whatever they do from not knowing anything about you to the sale. That's called a funnel. You want to study competitors' funnels. So anyone in your niche. So like if I have a cat toy, then I want to study other cat toy companies and see what they're doing. What does their website look like? I want to analyze their entire funnel, and any successful traits that it has, I can take those and implement what makes them successful into my funnel. And another thing is, for your personal funnel, something you can do to make it better is look at like the drop off rate. So say I do a video and it gets 1 million views, and 90% of those views go to my website, but only 1% end up buying. So what I need to do, my TikTok or whatever I got to make the 1 million views is perfect, right? It did good, but I got 1% on my website, so I need to fix my website. Basically, whatever is performing the worst in your funnel is what you need to fix first. In this case, it would be my website, so I need to go invest some money, fix my website, and all I have to do is make it 1% better, and I've already doubled my business. I went from 1% sales on my website to 2%. That's a double, right? So if I can increase that just by 1%, it's tremendous, and it's not hard to increase it. All right, tip number 4 is using a strategy called callouts. What this does is, in my last video, I talked about how you don't want to sell to the whole world. You only want to sell to your small circle, your customers, right? And when you do ads, you don't want people to watch them if they're not going to buy, right? So if I sell cat toys, then I don't want someone without a cat to be watching my video. So what I'll do is I'll use something called a call out, and I'll say something like, hey, cat owners, or do you own a cat? This way, if they don't, they'll likely scroll, and I can get only my customers. I can save my energy and time and ad spend. All right, tip number 5, last tip. You want to make sure that you're using easy to understand words and less words. When you're doing an ad, you don't want to have a whole paragraph in the hook or something, right? Because you're just gonna bore them. They're gonna scroll. They're not gonna watch the ad. And also, if you have crazy complex words, like sure you might think you're smart using a big word, but your viewers might not be smart, and they might not be able to understand that. So they're gonna be sitting here trying to focus on the word you just said, and you're still talking, and it'll distract them. They're not gonna. The ad won't perform well if you're complicating things.